Deep in a quiet swamp, a giant crocodile rests peacefully with a GPS tracker attached to its body so researchers can monitor it. But in the middle of the night, something unseen suddenly attacks. Before the mysterious creature is revealed, the scene cuts away. The story follows two friends, Sistine and Hannah, enjoying a party. Their night changes when Sistine gets a call from her boss telling her she's been replaced after taking a long vacation. Heartbroken, she shares the news with Hannah. Hoping to cheer her up, Hannah reveals she already booked VIP tickets for a crocodile tour. Thinking the adventure will help, they decide to go the next morning. At the beginning of the tour, their guide Rodrigo welcomes the group, which includes Sally, her young son Mikey, Sally's father Tim, and wildlife lover Dion. While Rodrigo prepares the boat, everyone explores a small display of animal skeletons. The owner Walker proudly shows them a huge hippo skull, explaining it belonged to a dangerous animal blamed for hundreds of deaths. He adds that every skeleton on display was hunted by him, proving his experience. Once the tour begins, Rodrigo promises they'll soon see a giant crocodile over 12 feet long. But when they reach its usual territory, the swamp is strangely silent. Using the GPS signal, Rodrigo tracks the crocodile's last location. After throwing meat into the water with no response, the group moves closer and makes a horrifying discovery. The giant crocodile has been ripped completely in half by an unknown predator. Shocked, Rodrigo warns that if something could kill the swamp's biggest crocodile, every other crocodile may have already fled. The disappointed tourists blame Rodrigo and demand to leave. As he turns the boat around, something massive slams into it from below, flipping it over instantly. Everyone climbs onto the overturned boat while Dion escapes into a nearby tree. Rodrigo disappears beneath the water, then suddenly resurfaces with a massive bite wound across his chest. The group pulls him aboard as the unseen creature violently shoves the boat until it becomes trapped between large trees. With Rodrigo badly injured, Sally says the wound must be sealed with heat. After Sistine bravely retrieves a floating flare box, they heat a knife and seal the wound, stopping the bleeding. With no phone signal, the group climbs into the trees and desperately calls for help. Rodrigo says the tour base may notice their GPS stopped moving before closing, leaving rescue as their only hope. Dion panics, convinced they won't survive the night if rescue doesn't arrive before sunset. With no better option, the group stays together and waits. Soon, heavy rain begins pouring over the swamp. Rodrigo slips unconscious again, and Sally discovers his wound is becoming badly infected. While checking their supplies, Tim spots a floating container filled with bottled water and pulls it close, giving everyone fresh water. Their brief relief ends when something moves beneath the surface. The mysterious creature is coming straight toward them. Everyone scrambles higher into the trees, but Sally slips into the water. She barely reaches a floating log before Sistine dives in without hesitation and brings her safely back. Seconds later, the creature slams into Hannah's tree, knocking her into the swamp. For the first time, the survivors finally see their attacker, a gigantic hippopotamus. Hannah desperately tries climbing another tree, but the trunk is too slippery. Frozen with fear, she finds herself face to face with the massive animal. Tim climbs down to help her, but before he can reach her, the hippo charges, drags him underwater, and he never resurfaces. Sistine stretches out a tree branch to save Hannah, but injures her arm and loses her grip. Hannah reaches another tree, yet the hippo catches up and attacks before anyone can help. Back at the tour base, Walker realizes Rodrigo never returned. After checking the GPS tracker's last signal, he grabs another boat and heads into the swamp to search for the missing group. As night falls, Sally reveals she's a nurse while treating Sistine's injured arm. The survivors decide to light a huge fire to attract rescuers. Mikey retrieves a floating fuel can, and Dion suggests pouring the fuel around the overturned boat and igniting it. The flames should keep the hippo back long enough for someone to recover the lost GPS tracker. Sistine volunteers. She dives beneath the overturned boat and finally finds the tracker. When she stays underwater too long, Mikey jumps in after her. Moments later, they both return safely. Rodrigo switches the tracker back on, sending out a fresh signal that leads Walker directly to them. Walker soon arrives and rescues everyone onto his boat. Hope finally returns, but it lasts only moments. During a heated argument, Dion blames Rodrigo for the disaster. In the chaos, Mikey accidentally falls into the water. Before anyone can save him, the giant hippo silently appears and attacks him. Devastated after losing both her father and her son, Sally is left heartbroken. Then Walker reveals even worse news. His boat has run out of fuel, leaving them no choice but to row through the swamp while the deadly hippo is still hunting them. With no safer choice, the survivors return to the overturned boat. Walker reveals he brought a powerful tranquilizer for large animals, but warns that the giant hippo may be too big for it to work. Even so, everyone agrees it's their only chance. Walker asks the others to stay in the trees while he waits alone with the tranquilizer rifle. Minutes pass in silence, but the hippo never appears. Overcome with grief after losing her father and son, Sally steps into the water, hoping to lure the animal out. Instead, the hippo suddenly attacks Walker's boat, nearly capsizing it before clamping onto his leg. Rodrigo quickly grabs the rifle and shoots the hippo with a tranquilizer dart. The animal releases Walker and disappears beneath the water, allowing him to escape with a badly injured leg. Soon after, Sistine realizes Rodrigo has died from his injuries. She also discovers Sally didn't survive after entering the swamp. Only Sistine, Dion, and Walker remain alive. Unsure whether the tranquilizer is taking effect, Sistine and Dion throw large branches into the water to distract the hippo while Walker heads for the boat. The plan nearly fails when the hippo charges him, but Walker hides between two trees while Sistine reaches the boat. He scares the animal back with a burning flare before joining the others, and they continue rowing through the swamp. Along the way, Sistine finds Hannah's backpack with her camera still inside. Walker then explains that over a century ago, hippos were brought to Louisiana as part of a failed breeding project meant to solve a meat shortage. At first, the others doubt him, but the story explains how such a giant hippo could exist in the swamp. Dense fog soon surrounds them. Using Hannah's camera in night vision mode, Sistine guides the boat until they reach an abandoned farm. Inside, they discover documents from 1912 confirming African hippos were once bred there before the project collapsed. The surviving animals escaped into the swamp, where their descendants lived unseen for generations. When they go outside, they discover old metal animal cages. They also find a baby hippo stuck under a heavy metal gate. Before Sistine can help, the giant hippo appears. They realize the injured calf is its baby, and the adult has been protecting it all along. Sistine barely escapes the furious charge and races back into the farm. Believing fire is now their best hope, the survivors search the buildings and find a large fuel barrel. They spread fuel throughout the farm, pile broken furniture together, and prepare a massive fire that could drive the hippo away or signal rescuers. Luckily, Sistine still has a box of wet matches and hopes at least one will light. Walker and Dion get ready to make a run for the boat while Sistine stays behind to light the fire. But before they can put the plan into action, the giant hippo suddenly crashes through the wall and storms into the building. Walker is knocked to the ground by the impact, while Sistine and Dion race into another room. Instead of opening the door for Walker, Dion panics and slams it shut, leaving him outside. Seconds later, the hippo attacks Walker, and he doesn't survive. The furious animal then starts smashing through the door to reach the two women. As soon as it breaks inside, Sistine and Dion run in opposite directions, forcing the hippo to chase only one of them. Dion escapes through another exit while the giant animal continues searching the building. Meanwhile, Sistine becomes trapped with nowhere left to run. Realizing this is her last chance, she pulls out the soaked box of matches. The first few attempts fail, but after trying again and again, one match finally lights. Sistine quickly drops the burning match onto the fuel covering the floor. In seconds, flames spread throughout the building, surrounding everything in their path. The fire grows rapidly, trapping the giant hippo inside. Using the confusion to her advantage, Sistine escapes through the same opening that Dion used a few moments earlier. The original plan was to use the fire to hold the hippo back long enough for them to escape by boat. But just before leaving, Sistine comes up with a better idea. Instead of risking another dangerous trip through the swamp, she believes they should stay near the burning farm and wait for rescuers to spot the huge flames. Dion disagrees. Refusing to wait any longer, she gets into the boat and decides to make the journey back to the base by herself, while Sistine stays behind. Only moments after Dion leaves, the giant hippo breaks free from the burning building. It charges after her, slamming her into a heavy iron gate with tremendous force. The attack proves fatal, leaving Sistine as the only survivor. Now completely alone, Sistine runs back to where she found the trapped baby hippo. The mother is close behind. Instead of trying to fight or escape, Sistine takes out her small knife and begins cutting away the branches holding the young hippo beneath the fallen iron gate. Using all her strength, she manages to lift the heavy gate just enough to free the frightened calf. The moment the baby hippo is free, it runs straight back to its mother. To Sistine's relief, the mother chooses to stay with her calf instead of attacking again. As the two hippos disappear into the swamp together, Sistine finally realizes the truth. The mother had been so fierce because she was desperately trying to rescue her trapped baby the entire time. At that moment, the huge fire catches the attention of a rescue helicopter passing overhead. Sistine quickly climbs onto one of the large iron enclosures and waves for help with all her strength. The rescue team spots her signal, lands nearby, and safely lifts her out of the swamp. In the end, Sistine is the only person to survive the terrifying nightmare. As the helicopter flies away and the first light of morning appears, Sistine looks down at the swamp below. She sees the mother hippo peacefully swimming through the water with her rescued calf close beside her. By now, all of her anger has disappeared. She understands that the mother hippo was never attacking out of cruelty. It was simply doing everything it could to protect its baby. With that final realization, Sistine quietly watches the two animals disappear into the swamp, bringing the story to a close. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.